Buzzworthy Radio is on. The entertainment show that gets you up close and personal with today's hottest stars. Here's your host, Novell J. Lee.
Hey guys, it's Novell J. Lee and welcome into a new Buzzcast here at Buzzworthy Radio. I had a chance to sit down and speak with Martin Starr. He currently can be seen in the independent film Amira Sam. I had the chance to watch this and it was probably one of the best flicks I've ever seen in a while because it depicts a Marine coming home from overseas. And you know, when you see a lot of films like this, you tend to feel like you will see the Marine coming home dealing with PTSD, and this film kind of does the opposite. He comes back, and instead of him changing, the rest of the world has changed, and you kind of get to see how he's trying to fit back into that world, and a lot of people have their certain depictions about certain people. And it was very interesting to see how he was able, his character Sam, play that off. Plus, his relationship with the character of Amira in this film had very good chemistry, and I was very, very, very excited to watch it. But also, I loved how it just pretty much showed true love, but it also showed how we possibly do feel in this world since the 9/11 attacks, and it's a lot of truth telling. And I think a lot of people need to check this movie out. But without further ado, here it is, our interview with Martin Starr. Check it out. Hi, Martin. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Novell?
Doing very well. Thanks so much for speaking with me today. Pleasure.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Absolutely. I mentioned to one of your co-stars yesterday, I watched this movie, and it is so well done, so well crafted, and you have wonderful chemistry with Dina Shahabi. First of all, I think I need to retrain in my radio skills because I did not introduce who I'm talking to. This is Martin Starr, and we're talking to him about the movie Amira Sam that he starred in, that's being released in select theaters on the 30th of this month. And it's a wonderful film, and it's definitely a different approach of what you see in a lot of films that deal with war veterans coming back home, because, you know, obviously a lot of it we see like they're dealing with PTSD all the time, and whereas you're coming back, your character Sam, you're coming back, you're fine, but you're pretty much now seeing the world being very prejudiced to certain things, if not certain people and events, and I think that was a very interesting take in this film.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's part of the driving force for me wanting to do it, was sitting down with Sean and having such a clear perspective of wanting to show different tales than you often see in the media and in movies regarding, people coming back from, fighting for America.
Yeah. And of course, my whole thing was like in that first scene, I knew I was gonna like it right away when I saw your character just basically trap all of those assholes in the elevator. I think that was probably like the point where I was like, yeah, this is gonna be good film.
That felt really good to do.
I honestly looked at that and I said, I wish I could do that, but I unfortunately I can't, but I would love to do that, so I was very proud to see somebody doing something like that. So
yeah, vicariously live through me, friend.
I'm doing just that. And speaking of which, and your on-screen partner, played by Dina Shahabi, you had wonderful chemistry with throughout in this film. And it was just wonderful to see how, you know, she went from hating soldiers to a point where, you know, it was a slow building up love for each other, and it was wonderful. I just loved how you played off of each other. What was it like working with her?
Oh, phenomenal. We had immediate chemistry, so it made it a lot easier, to go into those scenes and for them to feel natural. And we just had a lot of fun together. I mean, I think it all shows on screen how well we got along, and you don't always you have the fortune of it being that easy. I feel the same way about Silicon Valley. It just, I've had the fortune of feeling that way a lot in my career. Just kind of the easy chemistry, like-minded people.
Right. And this film sort of hits a little bit close to home for the director of it, Sean Mullen. If I understand that correctly, some of the aspects of this film were sort of mirroring, I guess you can say, from real-life experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's all from, he wrote what he knew, and it shows in the honesty of the characters.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seriously, because I have a friend of mine, my best friend. He's stationed in Qatar right now. He won't be back until mid-June, and and it's like one of those things where when I'm sitting and watching, and you're just seeing just how people can be for their own personal gains, if not just for that, but also just by how they perceive people because of what had transpired all those years ago on 9/11. You're just sitting there and you're looking at it and you're pretty much going like, damn, there are people out there that are like this. And you may not realize it at that point, but then when you see it, it's kind of like, this really does happen. And what can we do as a people to kind of like change the perceptions of what we see as amongst people, not just with Dina's character, but also with your character as well, as being a vet coming back here. It's just that we have our own perception of ideas, and some of it pretty much sucks.
Yeah, I mean, you're opening a huge door there, but I mean, everything seems to break down to financial gain and wealth in a way that doesn't hold any real bearing on a human level. That these are all manufactured values. These aren't innate. I mean, I guess it all boils down to power, but it's unfortunate that like the common good isn't something that is referred to as often as it should be. And like, the direction that humans are moving on this planet is not a positive one overall.
Right.
We're trying to manufacture foods in an organic way that's not possible, instead of just finding a better way to nurture the life that's already here to help support us and to help support the planet.
Right.
Did I get too big with that? It's a big door you opened.
Yeah. I tend to do that a lot around in these parts. I might have to work on that. But your cast is wonderful in this. Aside from Dina, you worked alongside Paul Wesley and another one of my favorites, David Rasche. I've loved him for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Since Nurses. What was it like working opposite those guys?
Paul, it was fun. It was easy. It just kind of like our chemistry came very naturally. I just met him, I think, the day before we started working, because he was so busy working on the show that he only had weekends, and so he really kind of donated his weekends to us on this movie. I commend him for giving up his 2 days off each week to come and spend it with us and help make our movie as good as it could be. And David Rasche, I can't say enough. He was such a sweet guy. I've had such a, talent crush on him for the longest time. I think he's such an immensely talented person, and it was such an honor to be able to work with him.
That's pretty awesome. And of course, I gotta make mention of the fact that obviously I watched you on Freaks and Geeks. That was the love of my life back in the day. Maybe because I'm a geek, and that's probably why I was hip to it. And that was one of my favorite shows. I kind of wish it lasted a little longer, but I loved that show. Love that show, and it's amazing how people still mention that to this day. Do you still get people coming to you being like, I still love Freaks and Geeks, or they make mention of it in any way, shape, or form to you?
Yeah, I think a lot of that. The same group of people that were aware and connected with those characters way back when still seem to find, the other things that I've done in my career, and so they tend to, that Venn diagram almost overlaps entirely with anything else that I've done. So, and I feel really lucky to have really started my career, for all intents and purposes, on such a great experience and such a heartfelt portrayal of characters going through adolescence.
Right.
All sides of the camera. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. There was the craziest experience that I've had with someone who really loved that show is I was in New Jersey I was in New York on the PATH train. I was waiting for the PATH with my buddy Matt, who used to live in New York, and we were standing there, and I just saw this girl break down crying. She looked at me, and then she just kind of breaks down. I don't know why I'm telling you this.
Wow.
She just broke down and started crying, and then came over and I said hi to her, and she just you could tell that it just affected her so much to that show really meant a lot to her, and I can only assume that my portrayal of Bill Haverchuck did as well, and it's such an honor to be able to touch someone's life like that in such a meaningful way.
That's amazing. I think that's pretty much why you love what you do, because it does affect people who watch you and look up to you. I think that's probably one of the perks about that business. I think that's great.
Yeah, and we'll just assume that it was tears of joy and not tears of
tears of joy indeed. Tears of joy indeed. When you filmed the movie for Amira Sam, when did you film that? How long ago did you do this?
Sam and Amira?
Yeah.
Or Amira?
Amira Sam, yeah.
At one point it was called Sam and Amira. I wasn't just trying to take first billing. We shot it in New York beginning of August. I think we started 2013.
2013, okay.
It was right after that I went to Iceland to shoot a movie called Dead Snow, which I'm also incredibly proud of, but a very different movie, and super fun. And then, as soon as that ended, we came back and started season 1 of Silicon Valley.
Okay, very, very cool. And as we said, it's going to be released in select theaters beginning on January 30th, and I think it's till March 6th. I might have that wrong, but I will double check that. I believe it's going to be from January 30th to March 6th, where people can check that out. We'll have a list of where, if it's going to be in your area, you can go check it out. But
it's also on VOD.
It's also where?
It's also on video on demand
Video on demand.
Yeah. So even if it's not in a theater near you, if you're not in a big city, there's also video on demand.
Awesome. I should have known that. Somehow I did not know that, but thank you very much for telling me that. And we'll definitely have all the information for you on our website at buzzworthyradiocast.com. And you can follow Martin Starr. You have a Twitter, I believe, correct?
I do, yeah. I have a Twitter and Instagram. It's just my name.
Martin Starr. Make sure you guys give him a follow on both of those. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your time to speak with me. It was an absolute pleasure. And as I said, this film was very, very good. Wonderful storytelling. And I encourage all of you guys to check this out for sure.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks to Martin Starr for stopping by the podcast. And as I said earlier in the show, I really encourage you guys to check out this film. It was wonderfully done, brilliantly acted, and again, it teaches us a lot, especially about our own perceptions on not just people, but also about things surrounding us. And it is now able to be viewed in select theaters, but also you can check it out on video on demand. But that's going to do it for me for right now. I'm Lavelle J. Lee, making sure you keep getting the latest buzz with Buzzworthy Radio by logging on to our website at www.buzzworthyradio.com.